Hi there. This is a reading for the collective. Take what resonates, leave the rest. Today, we are going to talk about rigidity. I really struggle with this myself. I am a Leo, but I'm right on the cusp of Virgo, and I have a lot of air in my moon sign's a Libra, my rising sign is Gemini. So there's a lot of air in my chart, and with me being on the cusp of Virgos are earth signs, but they're like the most overthinking sign in the zodiac. So I struggle with the mind. Like, I feel like the rigidity comes from, the mind and the overthinking and all of that. So if you resonate with this topic, please stick around. I ask Spirit to assist us with this and help us figure out how to go more with the flow. So without further ado, let's hop in here. And I've done a reading like this before. Six of Pentacles, give and take. Interesting. Yeah, that seems like a good message. I've done a reading like this before, but it feels like we need more help with it. Four of Pentacles. Yeah. Interesting that Pentacles are being shown while I'm shuffling. So Six of Pentacles is about receiving, giving and taking. Ooh, Two of Cups. We love this. Yeah. And when you're, rigid, you're out of balance with your masculine and your feminine, but you're kind of like with that Six of Pentacles, the give and take kind of energy, you're not honoring yourself by not allowing other people to do their part, right? The Moon. But the Four of Pentacles talks about lack mindset. And it's interesting that that's coming up about, like, while I'm shuffling anyway, coming up about, rigidity, because that is very like a rigid energy. Feeling like it's like control, like you got to control the outcome at all costs. Knight of Pentacles, dang, that's so much so much Pentacle energy, Knight energy. Knights are, the Knight of Pentacles is the slowest moving knight. So part of your rigidity might stem from rushing, like feeling like you got to get to the end goal of things. Pentacles again. This is wild, child. I love it. And bears. Okay, bears hibernate. Like, what are you doing to rest right now is what I feel like I need to ask you. And I don't know why. Well, I'm glad I felt the need to flip that. Beautiful. So where are you and how are you going to find more rest? And then the sun, are you joking? Like, everything's working out beautifully for you. You need to stop and smell the sunflowers, for sure. Eight of Pentacles, and stop working so hard. Like, yeah, so part of it feels like, I think I want to take this one. Oh, Princess of Swords. Okay. Prince and princess. Part of your rigidity is that you feel like you have to earn your way on everything. And it's not just like work, it's like in life in general. Chariot reversed. And what's interesting too, so I've had Temperance, balance. I've had this deck out. The Magician reversed. Not surprised about that. I've had this deck out for quite a few days, but I've got these two decks that are a little newer that I love to pieces. So I haven't used it. And when I was like I changed out one deck. I thought maybe I should get rid of this deck on the table because I haven't used it. And I said, no, you know what? Maybe I should use it for this. Because I went and looked at the box. And there was something about the box that was like so beautiful, even though I've seen it a million times, that I was like, no, you got to leave that on the table and you're going to use this deck. And this deck is very animal focused, in case you haven't noticed. And then the deck I pulled out, which I'm going to use for clarifiers, is this deck. I forget what it's called, but there's a lot of animal, earth, like outside energy to this deck as well. So there's something about nature, which makes sense because nature is flow, right? And there's something about you. I feel like it's more connected to the animal piece. Look at that, yin yang. Yin yang, yin yang, the yin yang twins. I feel like it's more tied to the animal piece of it because they could teach us a thing or two about going with the flow, right? They just, everything has its purpose. They live and die by like, this is how it goes. Like even the, natural selection of things, like, not saying they don't live in fear, the animals that are like rabbits, I feel like can, that are constantly watching things because they gotta be their prey, right? They gotta be on the lookout, but they're really good at just being present in the moment. They're living their lives, the best that they can in like everyday life. They're tied to everyday life. They're not focused on what they have to do a week from now. You know what I mean? Like they're just living. They're living. We're not living. And that's why I need to do this reading. And we've got flying type animals. There's butterflies in both of these. We've got water animals. We've got land animals. Like it's very significant. Butterflies again are very significant. And that makes sense actually, butterflies, because if you think about their life, they start out as a caterpillar, and then they got to go in a cocoon and come out and looking beautiful, right? But that has its time. That's a cycle. That's they experience probably different. Well, obviously they experience a different life in one life because they're, a land type species, and then they fly. So that's pretty incredible when you think about it. And then they get to, they're probably on flowers in both, caterpillars probably walk through that kind of stuff, right? Through flowers and plants and stuff like that. And then butterflies land on them. So it's a beautiful way to look at it when you think about it. But yeah, there's a lot of flying, like in every card, there's flying type. I mean, I know those aren't really, but there's wings in that's what I should say. There's wings in every card. And that's very significant. It's like you think about a bird, birds have to go with, they have to consider what's going on with the wind the day they're flying, right? So they have to go with the flow. They can't, if it was really windy that day, they couldn't fly against the wind and expect to be able to fly. But that's what we do, right? We go against, like we are resistant and we push against things to try to force them to work or to get through something quickly if it's, hard to deal with. So we could learn a thing or two from these species and animals that, maybe we think a butterfly is insignificant, but wow, when I put it like in that light, in that perspective, it's like, dang, we don't know shit, like we don't know anything. And I love that it's coming out like this, actually. Like, what a beautiful way to present this. God, thank you so much for this. I love the way this is like where it's headed, because when I was like, okay, rigid, actually I feel like I should share why I'm doing this, but when I was thinking about rigidity, I was like, this is going to be hard for me to hear, but it's not at all. This is really beautiful. So the reason why I'm doing this reading is going to maybe sound silly to you, but it's very important to me. I just had a therapy session yesterday, and I talked to my therapist about this because I realized that I was getting triggered by the character Negan from Walking Dead. And I think a lot of people have gotten triggered. And actually, my boyfriend pointed it out this morning. He was on a forum or something, and he's like, man, a lot of people just hate him. He's like, it's a character. And I said, well, you don't understand, because, you know, there's people out there who can get emotionally involved in a show because we're sensitive kind of people. And that's why I get so upset. And I realize that the reason why I'm getting triggered by him is because it's unfair. And that's something from my childhood that I'm not really sure where it stems from. But also I'm a Libra moon. So Libra moons want balance, right? So that's a big part of it. And we've got balance right here and all these yin yang symbols everywhere. So, you know, it makes sense why it's triggering me, but I don't want it to do that because I'm trying to finish the show, mostly for my boyfriend at this point, I gotta be honest, but I do want to see Negan get some kind of, you know, like I want to see the payoff, whatever that is. Maybe it won't be as good as I want it to be, but he deserves to be taken down. So just as an example, like, look at that. I'm being so rigid about a TV show that I'm getting pissed off. And I got mad at my boyfriend, and then I had to apologize for it because it's silly. It's a show, right? But, you know, just as an example, like, that's being rigid. And, you know, maybe you can't resonate with that. But when I say that, something peaks in your mind where you're like, I need to reflect and see why I'm getting triggered by this, okay? 14 and 7, like 7's the half of 14. That's interesting. I wish these were a little bigger. I think this is just like the pocket size of it. Release, simplicity, fire, release. You know what's interesting is I was like, well, I don't think there's any like animals that would be fire-like. Oh, there's a fairy. No. So, like, I have this deck that is an animal deck, and an animal that would be considered fire is more like predator types for the most part, like a snake, rattlesnake, or a tiger, you know, lion, stuff like that. And I mean, it makes sense going along with like fire energy. We've got, you know, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. So that sort of thing. Man, I'm having a hard time getting anything. Should I switch this deck, Spirit? Because I was actually thinking about using, because there's animals in this deck too. And I was looking at it for a minute. So we're going to do something out of the ordinary. We're not going to be so rigid with our rules. And we're going to take another oracle deck. I love it. Great job, Colette. Moon again. Interesting. Water. Water and fire. I feel like I saw that recently. I think it was on the pattern. Fire and water are a good match. That would be like balance, right? That'd be kind of yin and yang, like the water puts out the fire and kind of tames it a little bit. And I don't think the sun is only fire, because temperance is, oh, actually temperance is Sag. Never mind. Goofball. You know that. Okay. Opposition. Hurt to heal. Interesting. Pisces at the bottom of the deck. Talk about water. Okay. Let me get a drink and light the sage, and we're going to get into it. And I love that we have a mix, a good balance, feminine energy. Well, Yeah, that's a female. Look, it could be a female or a male, really, when you look at it. You know, masculine over here as well. It's just good, a good balance of both. And that's definitely what you need when you're trying not to be rigid. And I want to say rigidity is like usually tied to control, like I was saying, right? And that's masculine. So if you find yourself being heavy on the, oh boy, what did I just knock over? That was weird. Just by doing, well, it might have. This is a little packed. I need to kind of downsize there. But yeah, if you find yourself trying to control everything, you're in masculine energy, and feminine energy is more flow. So you got to find the middle ground. That's the hard part. The Chariot is about picking a path, right? Going this way or this way. But I'm looking right in the middle, smack dab in the middle. Like, can we take the middle ground here? And that's what you need, because you shouldn't want to, like, being in masculine energy is not bad. You need the masculine energy too. That's like strength and power. But control, like there's, what do you call it? There's bad sides to both the feminine and like toxic sides to both the feminine and masculine. Like a female, like for me, I used to be very emotionally reactive. And that's feminine energy. So, you know, finding the balance between good feminine and masculine energy. So we've got the Princess of Pentacles, the Prince of Swords. This is very young energy. So if you can balance like grounding energy with your mind, that's kind of a big key here. That's what God wants you to do. And look at her gut, like getting it, like it's emotions, like finding the balance with your emotions and your mind and melding them together, working them together instead of fighting against them. Okay. Opposition, imbalance, a point of tension, a power struggle. So you may be already kind of recognizing this and trying to, I know I've gone through phases where I've gotten better at, you know, going more with the flow. And I think my masculine energy got scared and now I'm back in it. And it's okay. Like, it's not an easy thing to, you know, change, right? When you've been doing this for 43 years. So, you know, this is why it's coming up again, because I need to get back on it. So hurt and heal. Yeah, that's beautiful. And so I think Spirit is saying, because I was just kind of pointing out the bad and the good energy, that it's okay to be in the bad energy too. Like, you're not a bad person for doing that. I think most people that come across this reading could resonate with it even a little bit. Some people are more rigid than others, right? Some people, like, rigidity too, to me, comes from like perfectionism, like feeling like you're afraid to fail, or like what you consider failing might be a little ridiculous. And then this is speaking from somebody who's working on the perfectionism piece of it. But, you know, like, you have to be kind of gentle to yourself, because you're not going to change anything if you're, you know, being a bully to you, right? Like, that's, you can't force yourself into submission and into changing how you view it. You have to just a little bit, baby steps at a time, right? So then we've got the sun and the moon. Talk about yin and yang. Undead. And that's Pisces too. There's a lot of Pisces energy, because then you've got the water. Water's all the water signs, Pisces, Scorpio, and Cancer. But the moon, satisfy emotional needs, nurture self and others. Yes. Spirituality, emotion, intuition, and compassion. So one of the things I was thinking of actually yesterday was I was getting frustrated with my boyfriend for So I did the dishes yesterday, and then I came home and there was a shit ton of dishes in the sink. And I said something right away, and then I went, I like kind of laughed it off, because one of the things I think that I do is I take things too personally, and I feel like, oh, he knew I did the dishes, so he put all these dishes in here. No, like, we just have dishes. Like, he ate something that was in the fridge, so now there's an empty dish. He's not trying to make my life harder because he's creating more dishes. We don't have a dishwasher, so I usually do the dishes. So do you see what I'm saying? That's a very rigid stance. And I caught myself, thankfully, because what a silly thing to get mad at your partner about. Like, it's not like he's doing those dishes. He's doing those dishes, so now, or putting those dishes in there, so now I have to do the dishes, right? But that's the perfectionism creeping in. See how it all ties together? Like, it's just very interesting when you think about it. But you do need to think about it, because you got to see where it comes from so you can focus on it and do differently, because you don't want to sit in that energy. Like, something to be actually mad about your partner for would be like, them being mean to you or yelling at you, or, you know what I mean? Like, that's valid. What I'm getting mad at my boyfriend for is not something valid. It's just something that is triggering to me because I want to keep things orderly, and I was proud of myself for getting the dishes done. So that's why I took offense to it. And like, even though I understand, like, I get it, it's like, okay, but I can't be mad at him for that. He's not doing that on purpose. So then we've got the 8 of Pentacles reverse, and look at all the moons, right? Again, and another moon, simplicity, fire, release. So 8 of Pentacles talks about working hard on something, and the fact that it's reverse, it's telling you to do the opposite and keep things simple. Bringing passion energy can help you take action in the right kind of energy, instead of like aggressively going at it. Fire signs can be a little aggressive when it's like I should say the shadow side of it, instead of it's like bad. That was probably the wrong thing to use. I apologize for that. But releasing the aggression towards getting things done. Exactly the example I just did for you, right? Or even better example, because this is something that doesn't really it challenges me, my business, but I guess I'm trying to say there's not another person involved, right? It's just me. Well, I mean, there's people involved, people that I'm helping, but what I'm saying, it's my business, right? So, when I go live and if I don't get readings, I take offense to that, or I think I did something. Really, it's more, I think I did something wrong that people didn't want to get a reading from me. And it's like, that's silly. That's a silly thing to think, but that's what I think. And I've got to change my mind on that. So that's something that I can't force, and I shouldn't try to force, because then it doesn't feel good. Do you get what I'm saying? It's like simply put, but it's just hard to integrate that in your everyday life. It really is. So then we've got the Chariot in the reverse with House 6, establishing a foundation, health, daily life, and practical details. Yeah. Interesting. So I was saying the Chariot is all about like moving forward, taking action as well, but like picking a direction. So this feels like a little misdirection. And I think part of the problem is so maybe you have routines, but you need to tune them up. And I'm going to give you another example. I love all these examples coming forward. I didn't put this into words yet, but I was just thinking. So when I come up with an idea for a reading or like intuition sparks like this, I get so excited about it that usually I just get done what I rush through what I need to do and then I go do it. Well, I've been really mindful of that. And like today, I was going to do the same thing, but I said, you know what? I really have to do this. So I worked on that a little bit and then I got stuck and I said, you know what? It's a good time to stop. We got to go change out the laundry. And I took my time on each thing until I got to this moment here. And I'm thoroughly enjoying this message and giving it to you and myself. So the energy of me coming here to do this for you is different and better because I'm taking my time. So Spirit is asking you, like, okay, even if you have a routine and it's working for you, are you still trying to rush through the things to get to the thing that you thoroughly enjoy? And like for me, I used to be the kind of person I would wake up and think about X, Y, Z. I got to do all these fucking things. And I started doing that again. And it was stressing me the fuck out. And I'm like, Colette, you haven't even, like, you're sitting down with your coffee. You're not even enjoying your coffee. This is like one of your, like, favorite things of the day. Like in the morning. Like that's your favorite thing. Having your coffee, sitting with your dogs, talking to my boyfriend a little bit. You know what I mean? It's like, just slow your roll and just see you're not even going with the flow with your whole day. It's like, okay, I got to do this, this, and this, and you're right. And we all, that everybody can relate to. We live in a time that is very much on to the next thing, on to the next thing, on to the next thing. And you just can't ever sit and just be, because that's not how the world works. Well, fuck that. I say, yes, you can and you should. And sorry, I just noticed there's like hands coming out of the water. That's really interesting. I mean, obviously it would be because you're working, but look at, you got teamwork. The animals are helping. So yeah, I mean, if you resonate with that, I challenge you to start being more mindful about what you're thinking about while you're in a current part of your day. Good, something you enjoy doing, something you don't like doing, whatever the case, you know, make sure that you're not, that's just like emotions, right? You can't force yourself to deal with them right now. You got to sit with it. And that's everyday life. You have to sit in the moment. Otherwise, you're just rushing towards, you know, the end of your life. You know what I mean? Like, why are we in a hurry? Like, every day we get closer to being older. Like, we need to be more present for sure, all of us. So then we've got temperance and reflect. Yeah, that's very similar energy. Temperance is very connected, and I feel like she sees the whole truth, and not there being like two paths again. And like, it's not black and white, but it's kind of giving that vibe because this is dark and this is light. So, you know, now would be a very good time to just stop and think about and reflect and connect, like meditation or praying to God if you pray, and just trying to be like open to receiving any kind of message or guidance that you can get, not even just from me, but oh, I didn't realize that, you know, not even just from me, but from God or toxic. Oh my God. You know, whoever you pray to, hopefully not the devil. I don't know why I just felt the need to say that. You know, just balance, very important. And maybe you need to sit down, like the reflection is sitting down and going, okay, this is where I'm really rushing in my life, or this is where I'm being really rigid and trying to control things. And maybe you feel out of control and that's why you're trying to control someone else or situations or whatever. I feel like that's something everybody does. I don't think that's really specific type of people. So I think, like I say, a lot of people can resonate with this reading, and I really truly hope it helps you. So then we've got the Magician reverse with Toxic reverse. And yeah, I feel like it's like I'm throwing everything at this thing to try to make it work, but you know, like that's toxic. Why are you doing that? So this might be specific for people that are in a situation that is not serving them. And they're like, well, the wand didn't work, so I'm going to try the sword now. And it's like, no, we're not going to do that. Or, oh, I've got a cup here. Maybe that'll help. Oh, wait, there's too many cups. I don't know which one to pick. You know, it feels like a, if this then that, and it almost feels like a spiral. Like I was looking at this like little thing right here. It feels like a spiral you're in. Usually it'd be a cycle, but it's like something is out of control and you're just trying to force it to work, and it's not good for you. You know it. Or this could also be some kind of vices, like maybe you, when you feel out of control, you do online shopping, or maybe you excessively eat or don't eat, or, you know, whatever it is for you. There's like a habit that, like, you get triggered. There's a cardinal outside whistling. You get triggered. So this is important. And it keeps going. Sorry, that was probably loud. I know how they whistle because I get a crap ton in my backyard. So, you know, figure out when you notice it, figure out what was happening before you started doing it. Even if there's like a thought you had, sometimes it's not really like you getting triggered by, you know, a thing that happened. Well, it would be a thing that happened, I guess, but not something in the moment. It might be something you thought about from the past, or just something in general that happened, you know, for you. Wow, this is a really good reading. I'm so glad I did this. And now we are going to end the reading with the Dead Inside cards, because this is my favorite deck of all time. 10 out of 10, recommend it. Just wanted to go specifically over here. It wasn't closure. Oh my God. Hurt and heal. Yeah. There's something you're hanging on to from your past for sure that might be, thought it was a vibe. Like, see, and the still waiting on the sign would go with this right here. So there might be quite a few people, like part of your feeling out of control is tied to relationships, love relationships, because you didn't feel in control in whatever. I don't know why I'm pulling more. I just felt like I should. But it might be tied to people who made you feel like you didn't have any. This could be, trigger warning, this could be abusive relationships. Replaying the breakup. Wow. I mean, I could even resonate with this too. I definitely know that part of my control or rigidity comes from me feeling like I didn't have a voice before, especially in my last relationship. I tried to, but, you know, I wasn't strong enough to put my foot down, and I gave up a lot when I was fighting for what I personally believed in, right? And listen, both sides were toxic. Both sides were at the time. I'm not trying to just blame him. I take accountability for my shit now, so that's the only reason why I'm saying that. It wasn't closure. Open ending, unanswered, emotional hangover. So I have to ask you, or I want you to sit with this question. What would knowing the truth or knowing, you know, the answer do? It's not going to change anything, right? For you. The result is still the same. So you know, you could sit all day long wondering why. I did too. About something different though. Like why? Well, and the unfairness of it all. Because I felt at the time that I was unsupported. I didn't have, I mean, I was supported by people, but at the time I couldn't see that because I was too focused on how I was so betrayed by people I cared about that I was like, why the fuck is this happening? I feel like ganged up on, and I was, but you know, that's when you sit and spiral. You're spiraling and you're not getting any closer to an answer. And even if you had the answer, I think you'd be surprised at what, like, that you wouldn't feel much different. Okay? So there's a need to make peace with your truth, okay? See, that's the thing that I figured out eventually is like, I know what my truth is and I don't care about their truth, okay? That's what where you need to get. And this reading's going in a completely different direction now. This is very interesting. Maybe we need these messages too. Maybe you've moved on. I mean, shit, I've been with my boyfriend, and I say this a lot, almost 5 years. I mean, you know, but some relationships are harder than others, and it's very hard to move on completely because you just, you know, you have a lot of trauma from it. So overthinking hour, yes. Still waiting on a sign, doubt, impatience, divine silence, overthinking hour, racing thoughts, insomnia loops. This moon. This was a good vibe, this row. Yeah. I think that this specific situation, I had to sit with that for a minute. It was very hard to kind of think about it. And this kind of looks like a heart shape. What was I gonna say? Shit. Oh, I think that this situation or this person really made you doubt yourself. And that is why, you know, sometimes you have these racing thoughts, and sometimes you are rushing to the next task and, you know, in a hurry because you're like, if I don't do it now, I won't. Or if I don't do it now, it's going to fail. Or, you know, like there's still doubts. There's still doubting on your end. And that's okay. That's okay that that's happening. But I just want to give you a big hug because, you know, your worth isn't defined by anybody but you, right? So whatever they made you think or feel about yourself isn't the truth. Remember, I said you gotta find your truth and worry about that. Thought it was a vibe, red flags, fantasy, false hope. Yeah. And it went crashing down, right? And, you know, there's a sense of, like, with that rigidity, there's a sense of I should have known better. But sometimes we don't know until we experience it. You're way too hard on yourself, and I relate. I'm right there with you. I get it more than most. And if you need a hype you up in the comments because you resonate so much with this, please let me know, and I will tell you how great you are, and I will mean every word of it. And I will use my intuition based on your comment and the vibes I pick up from you. See, you thought they were a vibe, but you're the actual vibe. You are. Anxiety or just too much coffee, restlessness, caffeine crash, paranoia. Well, could be a thing. But see, you know, I have noticed one of my things I'm doing lately, like as comfort, is more caffeine and more sugar and more whatever. And I told myself yesterday, I gotta cut it out, cut it down, cut it out. And I know I'm doing it, and I'm not being hard on myself. I just don't want to live like that. And I want the same for you. Pretending to like people, masking people, people pleasing, exhaustion. So part of that reactive energy that you might have towards other people, I know I relate, is that you're doing everything for that other person and not receiving as much because you're like, oh, I gotta do what I can because I don't want to end up here. And it's like, but you're worthy of receiving too. Like, you wouldn't meet that person if you weren't. Replaying the breakup, mental loops, guilt, not toxic, but familiar. Oh my God, mental loops, guilt, overanalysis, pattern, attachment, comfort, and pain. Yeah, you gotta, this isn't for you if you're still with that person 100%, get rid of them. But if it's somebody from the past, just know that this too shall pass. And take your time with it, okay? It's not easy. And maybe you won't ever, like, I know with my ex that I won't ever completely be healed because it was so traumatic. I will have moments that I get triggered. I just know it. But that's okay. You know, I'm gonna handle it. It's just, you know, something that I experienced, and I don't let it define me, but, you know, I needed to experience it in order, because I wasn't listening to God. I wasn't listening, and I let all the wrong people in my life, you know, throughout my life, not just in that moment. So God taught me a lesson, and I heard fucking loud and clear, God, you know I did. I just want to get one affirmation. I thought I was done. Tact. Not the bowl. Quality over quantity. Yes. Okay. Tact. I speak and act with care, remembering that impulsive words or harsh tone can sometimes hurt others. I'm actually surprised the King of Swords is not here. That's kind of her energy. If it feels like I'm walking on eggshells, I'll remind myself that those eggshells might actually be a shop full of china, and I might actually be a bowl. Then I'll remind myself to stop mixing metaphors. I love that. And that's actually why we have the princess and the prince, right? Because we're getting out of the Queen of Swords energy. We don't want to be her anymore. Like, we're very intelligent. That's amazing. Keep being that. But we've got to get out of this, like, cold, structured, rigid energy. That's not who we are at our core. We can have fun, we can laugh, we can play. I'm kind of surprised something didn't come out like that with an affirmation. Ownership. Stop. I take ownership. Yes. See, if you're not already taking accountability, this is your sign to do it. Okay. Say you're sorry. Recognize your role. And understand that some people are never going to take accountability, if that's the message for you, okay? I really hope this helped you. Any likes, shares, comments, subscribers to my channels, any of them are really appreciated. But on YouTube, I'm trying to monetize my YouTube, so followers, subscribers especially, would be very helpful for me. If you'd like to donate to my channel, I have CashApp, Venmo, and PayPal. It is not expected, but appreciated. I will put that in the comments as well. I am currently doing something fun where if you text me, I will send you one free card. So my number is in the comments, and you can text that number. I'll put it in the comments as well, so you don't forget. And then if you'd like to book a reading with me, I offer video readings. Those are a little cheaper. You can get up to 30 minutes in each, like there's a 10-minute, 20-minute, 30-minute. They're the cost of the minutes that I spend on the reading. So the most you'd pay is $30. I also do one-on-one readings. Those are a little more pricey, but worth it because you get one-on-one time with me. I'll put that link in the comments as well. And thank you for being here. I love you, and I believe in you, and it's gonna get easier, okay?